Hello and welcome back to the Double One Radio Gamescast. As always, I'm your host Ryan, and I'm joined today by my lovely cohort of co-hosts, Brett,
Hello.
Wyatt,
Hello.
and Alex.
I cut myself in the same finger 3 times while making a salad this tonight.
Why'd you do that?
Making a salad?
Because I don't learn from my mistakes, Brett.
Cut your finger once, shame on you. Cut your finger twice, shame on the knife.
In the same place.
Cut yourself 3 times. What are you even doing? What are you doing?
What's going on at that point?
What's going on? Come on, man.
All
It was a
right.
Caesar salad.
It's a sickness with you.
Guess what, lads? It's Halloween time, so we got to get into that Halloween spirit by raising the roof. Raising the roof with jazz hands. That's how it works, right?
Yes.
Jazz is the international music of Halloween.
Hey, I'd be down for some Halloween jazz remixes. Give that to me. That'd be great. All right. So it's episode number 82. We're going to talk about basically what we've been playing this week, as well as lots of games industry news that happened in like the past 2 days. So because we're recording this a day late, we have to include the Halo news, which is going to be fun. But first, I want to start us off on a bad note so I can raise us up with a good note. And Wyatt, this bad note is going to be particularly disappointing for you, I think. Advance Wars Reboot Camp has been delayed until February.
Oh,
was it originally
another
gonna come
delay
out?
until...
It was coming out December, I believe.
December. Okay, so
December
that's
third.
more substantial than
Now
than
it's
January.
into, I think, I recall seeing February somewhere, but the official note that I have here says spring, so I don't know if they've officially
Oh.
given February, but
I was going to say, if it's another delay until February, that makes at least 3 to 4 games I know that are in that February dump time now.
because
That's gonna
the interesting
start to
rumor
become a
with this one
challenge.
is that it may not have actually been related to development. It might have been related to maybe Kirby needs a little bit more development time, and they want to have Advance Wars to fill the window where
Kirby?
Kirby might have
Oh,
been
right.
placed.
Interesting.
So there's rumors that it may not have been related to Advance Wars having any issues.
So it
with
got
development.
delayed from another game's delay. is what you're saying.
Well, not even a delay because we don't have a release date specifically
Okay,
for
that's fair.
Kirby, but more that
Behind the scenes delay.
yeah, a reshuffling of release dates essentially. We don't know if that's true. That's the rumor because the
I mean-
Advance Wars looks pretty good from what we saw at the Treehouse. So
Yeah, I mean, and unless
Strategic
your name is
sacrifice.
CD Projekt Red, delays don't really bother me that much.
and I also think it's fair to say that like this is a really stacked like 2 months of video games.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Advance Wars would not have stood out launching this
No.
December alongside Halo. You're gonna have Final Fantasy. You're gonna
What
have
you're saying is it would have been forgotten again.
yeah. You're getting
Wait.
Guardians of the Galaxy is about to come out. So whole bunch
Wait, what
of stuff.
Final Fantasy?
It's,
is in-
14.
The
Oh, it's,
DLC.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
14's
Not
expansion
DLC,
comes
expansion, Yeah.
out November. So
the one for the game that has the critically acclaimed free trial
yes,
right now?
that includes all the way up to level 60. Where you can play the
Asmongold.
critically acclaimed free trial Heaven's Ward.
Asmongold. Asmongold.
Sorry, Brett. Can you say that a little bit louder?
Asmongold.
We're
Perfect.
going to become an Asmongold ASMR channel.
That has to exist
No
somewhere.
longer-
Someone does it.
No
yeah.
longer a Star Wars
I don't think I've
podcast.
seen a
believe
single
that.
stream or highlight of this man's work before in my entire life, and already he's my favorite streamer.
All right. So yeah, Advance Wars delayed. That
Okay.
a little sad because I want to play that game, but at the same time, I don't think I would have played it until spring at the rate that games are releasing right now. So
I mean, I'm gonna buy it. I'm still never gonna pre-order a game ever again. But I am gonna buy it as soon as it comes out.
yeah, you've been burned too many times. Okay, so
One too many.
in the better news of this week, we got a look at Concerned Ape's next game. Do you guys know who Concerned Ape is?
No.
Not at
No.
all.
Absolutely for shame. It's the Stardew Valley solo developer.
Oh,
Oh.
right.
Yeah, I knew it
I
sounded
say-
vaguely familiar,
I-
but I wasn't going to claim
I
I
say-
knew it.
I say,
Well,
oh, like I knew who the Stardew Valley developer was.
I feel like he and Toby Fox are like the two solo devs that most people know. Because they've made franchises that are like publicly attached to their names and are very well loved. So yeah, he's working on a new game called Haunted Chocolatier. It looks very much akin to Stardew, but instead of farming, you're making chocolates.
Very good.
It's very jolly. I'm happy to see that that's happening.
I'm really glad that Roald Dahl fans finally get their Willy Wonka game. You know, I know they've
Yeah.
been waiting for one for a very long time, and I'm just.
I
just
want
wanna see a
little
glass
orange
elevator.
slaves, Wyatt.
Oh no.
I want to push fat German children into a chocolate river. That's all I want in video game form.
Preach, brother. Preach.
That's gonna be the next Wolfenstein game. Okay.
You're so wrong. Dude, there's so many weird things in the Wolfenstein
It
games,
wouldn't
especially
surprise me.
New Colossus. It's not even the weirdest thing they've done. That's great.
Okay.
Oh no, mein Lederhosen are caught in the gears.
So this has been a fairly big week for games news, and there's been a franchise that's been dead for a while called Splinter Cell. And we've finally got
right.
near confirmation that a new one is happening. Basically, a lot of reliable sources are stating that Ubisoft has finally greenlit a Splinter Cell game, which, if I'm using normal game industry terms, means that the game is in proper production and will likely see a release. Not in pre-production. But knowing Ubisoft, that could be different.
Yeah.
It's hard to definitely say that means the game's going to come out. But it's further along than any Splinter Cell games have seemingly got in the past while, aside from the terrible mobile game. So
There's the mobile game, and then wasn't he?
He was in
Oh
Siege.
no, yeah,
He was
Yeah.
also in the critically acclaimed.
an operator. I think they called him.
What was it? Rainbow Six? No.
great job, Wyatt.
Oh my God. I'm getting all their Tom Clancy names. No, I'm getting all their Tom Clancy games confused. It's,
Breakpoint?
Ghost Recon.
Breakpoint. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that
Confusing Breakpoint
terrible
so
game.
Garbage Fire, baby.
Critically acclaimed. What are you talking about?
Critically acclaimed in that it got 2s from most major outlets.
Yeah,
Which is
that's a
two
claim.
thumbs
that is
up.
an achievement.
It's certain they're certainly critical in their acclaims.
Yep.
Oh.
All right. All right. I'm just happy to see Sam Fisher back in action. Give me more proper
I think
stealth
most
action
people
franchises.
I think most people.
Assuming it's like the original games and not like the latest.
Well, because like Metal Gear's
That was
not around
actually-
anymore. There's a void in stealth military games, and those games are always going to sell well if they're good. So
Exactly.
people
yeah.
love a spy story. And maybe James Bond will fill that, but I kind of doubt it. I feel like that game's going to be a little bit more
Ooh.
bombastic.
Especially if they can get the original voice actor for Sam Fisher back. The name
Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but he was part of what made that character so iconic because he just has that voice.
Definitely. Okay, so we got some neat news about a little known franchise called Grand Theft Auto. You guys ever heard of Grand Theft Auto?
Now, what is this? Another indie developer?
Yeah, another indie developer, very small indie developer. So, good old Rockstar has decided to just kind of drop essentially visual remasters of San Andreas, Vice City, and 3, I believe.
Yes, I think that's it.
Yep,
I
they
remember
look
hearing
good.
about this.
They look interesting.
I
Because
also-
they're taking like the original graphic style and kind of just enhancing it. They look more like cartoony than they probably were intending when they were making those original games.
They haven't
Which I think is a
modernized
good-
it.
No,
In the
well,
way
I
GTA 5 is.
think it's a good angle to go down. I think they look nice.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
It was a little strange when they showed like they did like the classic like remastered wipe, and I was like, oh god, okay.
Yeah.
It took a second to like adjust my eyes, but I don't hate it at all.
Oh, I've just seen their title cards. I haven't seen the wipe. I'd be interested to see that.
And I think
What
we
I
could,
do
like,
remember hearing about it is that a lot of people took to Twitter saying that they didn't want it.
yeah,
Well, there's a very
To
specific
give them
reason for
GTA
that.
6 instead, but it's just
It's because what they've been doing is they've been taking down a lot of like remastered mods
Yep.
that are in direct competition with this, and that's why people are angry at the moment.
yeah, they DMCA'd a few high-profile projects. I think specifically related to San Andreas that were doing some really cool mod work that got DMCA'd a while back. So it's a little unfortunate that happened. This is also in a kind of weird limbo because I believe we don't actually know if these are available on current gen consoles. from my knowledge. They state, or not current gen, last gen. So you got to remember that PS5 is current gen now, and not next gen. So there were rumors that these are not going to be available on last gen things, and they have not stated anywhere. Well, they have stated some now that they're available on other platforms, but the weird thing is the store page for the GTA remasters says that this is only available for PS5 when it has the label of PS4 and PS5. So it's very confusing right now, and people have been having some weird issues with that. So we'll see if anything actually happens with that, or if it's just like a store page mess up, which it totally could be. But yeah, there's been contention about that. They look good though, and they're good games. If you need more GTA in your life.
One like really funny joke is like when you see like a really lazy remaster, they have the wipe and it's like, wait, what's changed? Like nothing's different. This one is the exact opposite. You see the wipe and it's like, oh, they actually like it looks significantly better.
Specifically the environments. Like the environments are way more detailed now.
Well, the lighting stuck out to me as well. The lighting looks.
And they've animated additional things. Like you could see, they had signposts on, I think it was one of the strip clubs in Vice City, and you can see that it's animated now. It's not just a static signpost.
I think they're modernizing some of the mechanics as well, from what I understand. So it's not just a visual overhaul.
Because that would be my main complaint is if they don't change, not necessarily change, but just bring the gameplay up to par with modern stuff. I feel like it's going to be in an iffy situation, but we'll see.
It feels very Mass Effect trilogy in that way. If they kind of touch up some of the mechanics, which I think more remasters.
Yeah, just like little touches to make the shooting feel a little bit better and whatnot. Especially at higher resolution, it's going to look a little janky if it's like it used to be. Okay, so I know why it's familiar with Spec Ops: The Line. Anyone else here familiar with Spec Ops: The Line?
I'm not overly familiar.
But you know it is critically acclaimed as a
Well,
very well
I don't
written.
know. I don't know much about it because I want to play it at some point, and so I don't want it spoiled.
Yeah.
That's the situation I'm in.
I won't spoil it then.
Well, yeah, we don't want to spoil it on the show because obviously, like, it's a very good game. The reason I bring this up,
old.
it's relatively old, but at the same time, like, there's a lot of video games. People don't get the chance to play everything, and they may not have heard of it.
You calling it old makes me feel old, so I don't want to hear you say that anymore.
It also wasn't like a super high-profile release.
It was not super high profile, no.
Yeah.
No.
So definitely recommend checking Spec Ops: The Line out if you haven't. But the head writer for Marvel's Wolverine is the head writer from that game.
That's awesome.
Which is very cool. And let me find his name so I make sure to actually.
That's a grab.
Walt Williams. So he's a story lead at Insomniac, and he was one of the lead writers on Spec Ops: The Line, which is just a super cool detail, and I think that's a very fitting choice to give
that
the
game's
Wolverine
gonna be
game.
meaty.
If the writing is as good as I've heard it to be, then that's a good grab right there.
Especially because I think that means they might not shy away from some of the more mature themes of Wolverine, which has been a big concern.
Dude, that's what I'm excited about for a Wolverine game, is to see a Wolverine game where he just absolutely eviscerates people. And he's like just genuinely pissed off.
I have very low expectations that this would happen, but maybe some old man Logan action?
That'd be cool.
Oh.
An old man
Not
Wolverine.
now than a sequel.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so moving on, we got a fancy little bit of news that Kena, Bridge of Spirits, recovered development costs already, which is notable because that game was very expensive, I believe, despite the small studio because of the animation.
Yes. That makes me happy. I really enjoyed that game.
I still gotta play it.
That makes me very happy.
Yeah, it is a very, very good game. Now, one of the bigger pieces of news that's happened is God of War is making its way to PC.
Yes.
Right?
Oh.
This is another one of those games that was on the list that got leaked a few months ago that currently everything has been correct on. So
what's the list for?
I don't want to read the whole list off on the show because it's very long. It's not.
No, I mean, like, what's it about? Is it just things being?
It was a leaked list from GeForce Now, I believe, of
from Nvidia.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Nvidia's stuff. that
Yeah.
a bunch of games would be appearing on GeForce stuff, and a whole bunch of Sony games were listed there.
Which
And
implies
this goes back to like Chrono Cross, like remaster, and a Final Fantasy IX remake that are on the list, and people just go, "What do those mean?" And every single thing that is like on the list has been true so far. So it'd be really weird for certain ones to just be like, we put that there as a joke. Like, what a big middle finger that would
It's
be.
also because Nvidia and a bunch of outlets tried to cover it as
joke?
that. Afterwards, they were like, "Oh, these lists usually have not real things in them to throw people off," which has never been true. That has never actually been the case in any of these leaks. I think the closest we would get to this is that some of these games are probably not in full production yet.
Yeah,
I highly doubt a Final Fantasy IX remake is in full production. Wolf 7 remake is still in full production. So I bet some of these are things that like Sony was like, this is our tentative plans. So we may not see all these games, but
well, is that also something where they just wouldn't do an 8 remaster? Was there not enough?
8 is not necessarily the most loved entry. It's people like it, but it's a weird one to do a remaster of, especially because they released the HD version a little while ago.
Yeah. The thing with 9 also is that it's a fan favorite, but it's also a dev favorite. Like a lot of the really famous devs at Square, like that 9 is their favorite of all.
9 is also a lot of their last entries on the team.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of when the teams turned around. Yep. So I think especially because like Nobuo Uematsu is starting to retire, and a whole bunch of Sakaguchi I think is also starting to step away from spending a ton of time developing Square projects.
Yeah.
That could be a good way to bring some of them back in the fold for one last like big project, the same way that Nomura is kind of making 7 Remake his big blowout. So
his swan song.
Yep.
They bring me back in for one last job.
One last job. Yeah, that's definitely what I would bet is the case. It's also 9 is just like a really cool setting as well. So I'd love to see that in HD. All right. Moving on. We got 2 game review mega happenings today.
Good job.
We don't usually talk about reviews on the show because we're usually very late for them. We tend to we make the show before reviews are out because we record usually on a Sunday, and then Tuesday is typically game release dates. When we sometimes record on a Monday, that means we get actual reviews for major games that we can talk about.
Remember Games Club?
We did one pretty recently.
We did.
Listen,
actually.
dude, Ryan and I are cranking these out like once every 4 months. Wyatt, come on, join the club.
No, Wyatt and I are too busy playing games.
Thank you very much.
Play a game then.
Oh, don't even start.
Look, play a Yakuza game. I'll do games clubs with you on every single one of those.
Dude.
Play Super Monkey Ball in an orb.
On that Cyberpunk Games Club, but oh well.
No, I want to legitimately, the Cyberpunk one, I want to see what post-launch ends up being. That's our big thing with the Cyberpunk one, is like, because that changes a lot, is if they actually follow through. But I kind of doubt it.
Upset. It's been almost a year.
I know it's been almost a year. A year, Brett.
Oh God! Well, did you guys see the free DLC that they brought out? What was it again? Was it a?
It was a jacket and a car.
Well, because it's the same kind of free DLC that The Witcher 3 had, which was just cosmetics essentially.
Yeah.
And there was like one quest line that happened that was relatively minor but kind of cool. So I really just want Cyberpunk to get the follow through, because that game I think has potential to be legitimately very good.
We've said on the show. We've said on the show many times. Bugs aside, it's still a good game. I
enjoyed the mechanics of it.
The issue is you can't put the bugs aside because the bugs are so bad.
No.
I tried to get back into it recently. Still can't enter Center City because my game just crashes and doesn't let me into that entire area.
Yeah, they've put out complete warnings about the original PS4 version that the game is just kind of unplayable.
But
I have it on the Pro.
Play it.
Yeah, the PS4 and PS4 Pro and Xbox X are all like on the no-fly list essentially of that game.
Yeah,
because it just can't run. So yeah, that's a sad situation. But bringing it back to the reviews of the games that are coming out today, the day the podcast releases, We've got Guardians of the Galaxy and Age of Empires 4. I think games that some of us have all been kind of looking forward to. And guess what? Good impressions.
Yeah.
A Marvel game is getting good reviews.
Crazy.
It's Spider-Man.
I can't believe Paul Cassie wasn't enthused by it before he got to review it.
And I'm also very glad to see that Age of Empires is doing well, because Age of Empires is a franchise that has had some ups and downs. So
whenever I hear Age of Empires, the only thing I can think of is a mobile game.
I mean, speaking of long dormant strategy franchises that are making a comeback, because we were talking about Advance Wars earlier, you know, it's good to see, because I actually grew up on Age of Empires 3, which is not everyone's favorite.
Yeah, because I mostly played 2, but that's because I didn't have 3 at any point. Yeah. So
I mean, I have so many fond memories of playing that game with my brother, where we just did the monster truck cheat and then just drove over everyone's stuff when it got too hard. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, they've all kind of become good games. I think 3 at the time had like a rough launch and then became better as expansions released, but
it did that before it was cool.
Yeah. Age of Empires is probably where most of those mobile games got the name from. So.
Started the trend for post-launch improvement.
Yeah, I'm very excited to play Age of Empires 4. I believe that's also tomorrow, or maybe 2 days. It might be the 29th and not the 28th, but
Guardians is
Friday.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, Guardians is tomorrow.
For sure.
I'm very
or the day this
excited.
podcast comes out if you're listening after the fact.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, Guardians is also getting very, very good reviews. Not like blowout reviews, but like this is a good game that's worth picking up kind of reviews.
The common complaint seems to be that the combat isn't bad, but it's nothing like standout either compared to the other aspects of the game. But it definitely doesn't seem like something that'll detract from the experience too much.
No, yeah.
It seems more of like a missed opportunity thing than like just bad combat.
It could also be like I think Yang said this in his review, where it could just be like first game syndrome and like the series of things, like because if it makes all the money back, like people that have reviewed it at least seem to think that it's like the story is like extremely good, like it starts a little but then like once the team gets to know each other, then it gets really good. So I have a feeling it could just be like first game syndrome, where it's like, okay, we focused on the stuff that's going to bring people in, and then like the next game we can focus on like
I'm hoping they actually let Eidos. Go ahead, Alex.
In the game, this is like a starting of the team. They're gathering up.
It's a little bit of an origin story. Yeah, they're already as a team.
I love
they've
that
been as a
team bonding
team.
shit.
They've been as a team for a little while, but I think this is their first like major hero out expeditions. Essentially,
nobody knows who they are yet.
They're a team, but they're not really bonded as a team.
They're big enough to not be marked as pirates, as I think what the trailer has said. So
another thing that people have been pointing out is the facial animations are apparently like top notch.
That's what I've seen. Yeah,
they look. I mean, from what I've seen, they look just so good. Because the number one thing, as someone who's watched a lot of Corridor Crew artist react videos, the one thing that always messes up like facial capture or like CG faces or something is an unmotivated upper lip movement, and it just the lips start moving around and looking weird. And so it seems like at least in terms of like how your muscles actually move your lips around, they've got that more down than other developers do, and that's usually like a really big sign.
Well, it's because a lot of games do that thing where they like make your upper lip hiss. You do like the S thing on most words.
Yeah.
Which is I get that it's very difficult, because like if you're doing lip sync by hand, that's an incredible amount of effort. If you're doing it with technology, it's prone to failure at certain points. So
and
it's hard to do right.
In case your name is Mass Effect Andromeda, where I don't even know what you were going for. I don't even know
everything was wrong.
The thing with that is the main character. The main character isn't actually a person in Mass Effect Andromeda. They're like hybrid space snake people. That's why they always do that.
Those are the lizard people that escaped Earth.
Yes, exactly. But why I will say I can sense a games club coming on for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes,
absolutely.
Very excited.
Well, then I have to get it so we can play it.
Yeah, we gotta get the whole gang in on that one.
I was planning on just getting it for holiday time, but yes, I have to get it now.
It's holiday time, Alex. It's Halloween. We got to be in the spirit.
It's Halloween.
You know what I mean. Generic winter holiday.
Generic happy holidays.
I'm seeing stuff for early Black Friday deals already. It's kind of horrible.
Oh.
Yep.
I think it was like Best Buy's doing their Black Friday early, yo. Whoa, what's going on?
I can't wait for more people to be stampeded to death.
Never gets old.
Never.
All right, and we also have...
This mother wanted a flat screen for her kids, but she's not coming home tonight.
She's the one trampled flat by the entire
On that note, our last...
Why did I go so dark?
Let him
keep
go.
going. You keep going. You gotta stop the bit at some point. The last thing that we've gotten impressions of that's a little bit further out is Shin Megami Tensei 5, and initial hands-on preview impressions from most outlets are pretty positive, which is exciting. A game that has been a long time in the coming, announced with the Switch, and is just now starting to release alongside Bayonetta 3. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's been like almost 5 years, a little over 5 years at this point. Maybe for Shin Megami Tensei 5. So it's been a while.
I enjoy my quality Digimon spinoff.
Wow.
Wow.
That is a lot to take in.
Let's note that did not come from me. I did not say that.
I say that in a loving way because I like you.
My hands clean on this one.
That's actually twisted of you. You are a crazy person.
Maybe the most awful phrase I've heard on this show.
That had such Wyatt energy, and yet it did not come from my mouth at all.
It's spreading.
Well, before it spreads too far, let's talk about something that is spread far open and very wide. The Halo Infinite campaign.
Okay, you brought it back, ladies and gentlemen. I know
that one was a reach, but I was going for it.
It was a what?
It was a reach, maybe like a reach around, you know,
like a Halo reach.
Halo reach around, yeah.
What an interesting segue.
So Halo Infinite,
because you didn't think of it first.
So Halo Infinite had a campaign overview published the Monday that we're recording this podcast on. And they went over, finally, what your $60 gets you in the game.
What does it get you, Ryan?
You get a campaign!
What?
And I'm going to be honest with you. I had extremely, not even necessarily low, but like confused impressions about like how they were possibly going to justify like a solely single-player experience for $60 as a Halo game. Like even when ODST came out, that was $40, and it came with all the Halo 3 DLC because Microsoft was like, "You're not going to be able to sell this for full price." Even though it's a great game, it's probably my favorite story in the Halo universe. It's not. I don't even think I would buy it for $60. But this looks like it has potential to be worth it if you're not getting it on Game Pass for some reason. Then it looks like it could have potential to be worth that amount because I mean like. They're not. It didn't seem like they were going full open world. It seemed like they were doing just like you have levels or areas. They're just
the way they phrased it made it sound a lot like how the newer Metro games handle their worlds, where you're going to, or Dishonored is probably a good example. You go to this large level that you have a ton of stuff to do in, and like multiple different objectives. Some of them are probably optional, and then once you're done with that, you can move on to the next area.
Which
so
I would
like,
argue
kind of open world, but not quite.
Which I would argue is actually very in spirit with Combat Evolved in a lot of ways.
A little bit, yeah, for sure.
Like the one that comes to mind is I forget the name
Silent
of the level off the top
Cartographer.
of my head. Well, that's one of them, but also, the first mission when you crash on the ring and you're going around and picking up dudes in the Warthog and stuff like that is just
Halo?
a gigantic.
Yeah, that's the first mission.
I'm pretty sure the mission is just called Halo.
Is it really? Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. It might be like what it's called on like the soundtrack.
But you know which one I'm talking about. It feels very in spirit of that, where it's like
Yeah.
you got these 3 locations, you can just kind of drive to whichever one you want. So if that's, and I do vaguely remember when they had first announced it, they were talking about how they're taking a lot of inspiration from CE.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
that makes
they
sense.
definitely talked about that.
I do want to say, I'm usually not the guy that hates on open world game tropes. Y'all know me.
That's my
However, that is Brett's
Yeah,
stuff.
that's Brett's gimmick.
However, I will point out that at the 3-minute and 43-second mark in the video, I saw what I thought was some sort of bandit camp thing, which made me a little concerned.
They said that. They said that in the trailer. They were like, there are
Right.
camps that you can clear, essentially. They're taking some stuff from Far Cry in this game.
I hope they don't go too overboard with it.
Yeah.
As
And
long
then
as
it's just
most of it is
to-
optional, I'm okay with it existing.
Yeah,
Because then
as
I have
long
an
as
excuse
it's-
to keep playing it, right? Like, I
Well,
want that side content to be there as a reason for me to play the game more once I'm done with it, rather than a thing I need to do to continue the story, if that makes sense.
Right. I mean, if it's there just to add some stuff to do, you know, and it's completely optional. Maybe you get some sort of however the upgrade system works. Maybe it's tied into that.
Instead of
some way.
replaying the campaign 10 times like I do every other Halo game, I
Now you
clear
can
the
just save
overworld.
all the Marines or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we do have like it looks like some sort of skill tree or upgrades
Yes.
menu.
Really?
They showed that for like half a second.
Yeah, they did not give us a lot to work with.
They did not.
But it
give us-
looked like the menus were like big. Like there was a lot of aspects that you could change, and I like normally I feel like
need to
like
pull it up
alternate
now.
universe Brett would be like, this is terrible, and I would like just seize up and be like, not in my Halo game. But it feels
start
very
now?
in line. It feels very in line with what some of the characters in like the books would do, because like the Spartan armor is like a high tech suit of stuff, and they like tweak it and stuff to change different aspects of things. So I'll be very curious to see what they do with that. And from like the story stuff that they showed, the most disappointing thing for this trailer for me is that they're still considering the fact that Halo 5 exists, and that's just kind of a mistake
They
from
like
my point of view.
state that in the thing they're following up on Halo 5.
Yes.
I am always if you have like an entry in your series that maybe wasn't the best, I'm always a fan of embracing it rather than just retconning it entirely.
Yeah,
In
but
general.
They specifically
They
like call it
retconned-
out.
They call it out, and they retconned every other aspect of it. Like Master Chief does not have the Halo 4 or 5 armor. The Halo 4 or 5 aesthetic is completely gone, so nothing looks like it would have continued from Halo 5. So why even bring it up?
Those are like for the most part, like a lot of it is explained via lore, but a lot of it is very like cosmetic changes. Which
Yeah, but it's
as a
still
series
messy.
has always had cosmetic. It is, but
It's sloppy, and I don't like it.
Well, speaking of cosmetic changes, what I'm interested in here. So does this mean that Master Chief does or does not have his cod piece back?
His cod piece is back. Don't
Of
worry.
course
His
it
cod
is. Of
piece
course it
back.
is.
It's back.
He's
it.
protected. Yes. I'm not. Yeah.
He's once again a tank-like individual.
Exactly.
Nice.
But
him and
the
his
other
oddballs
things
are protected.
the other things that they like alluded to in the story, I like how they have a very obvious, just straight up like not Cortana, and it sounds like she's voiced by what's her name, the same lady that does. Is it Jessica Taylor? And am I just
maybe? Yeah,
so.
I don't.
think
so.
don't
That
100%
that
know.
sounds right to me.
Something with a J. But I like how she's very obviously just like so naive and stupid because she was probably programmed like yesterday or something.
We also learned she's called the Weapon.
I know, which is kind of stupid but also hilarious
love it.
because one of Master Chief's best quotes is just "I need a weapon."
Jen
just
Taylor
now-
is her name.
There you go.
Close enough.
Ballistic Jessica Taylor.
All Jens and Jessicas just blur together in my brain. I do like the contrast of like she sounds kind of sweet and innocent, but she's also called the Weapon, which I kind of like. That's a pretty cute little detail, I'd say.
Because she said that she was designed specifically for finding Cortana, so it's almost like if she's like super new or something. This is total like conjecture. None of this is confirmed at all. This is just me thinking of like it's almost like she doesn't know what her purpose is, and it probably maybe she'll end up doing something like really powerful or really
Brett,
bad.
that's not conjecture. She says that in the trailer. She says, "I don't know why I was sent to do this, but I was sent to kill Cortana."
That's what I find so
along those
interesting about her, and that was something from the small like story trailer or whatever that they had a little while ago, where she's like, "Hey, I was sent to do a task, and I shouldn't still be around. Why am I? Why am I still here?" And like that's a pretty, for an AI that was made to do a specific thing, that's a pretty interesting like start for a character arc. So I'm pretty intrigued already to see where that goes because I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see that as well. And looking more at the stills we have from the trailer that shows the like skill tree, it's not super outlandish. I do see there's a little thing, a little tab in this menu called targets.
Oh.
And now I'm going to throw my wild speculation out here.
Which they do have named bosses with health bars above
them
in the trailer. So that's probably what that is.
So I'm wondering, this is pure conjecture that I don't think is going to happen. Are we going to get a nemesis system in this game?
Ooh.
Yeah. God,
that could be kind of cool. That would be really cool, actually.
That needs to be uncopywritten. That was a crime that it's taken away from us and sequestered just into the...
Yeah, that is maybe Warner's worst copyright, is that system. Such a silly decision. But yeah, it is.
I did see one of the possible upgrades. Now, I didn't play the what was it called? I guess the beta or the
preview,
technical
the flight
preview, excuse me. But I don't think the grappling hook electrocuted people from what I saw.
It did not.
So that looks like it's one of the upgrades you can get, which is actually pretty cool. Like if it's upgrades like that change the functionality and not just like,
there were definitely things that I noticed in the trailer that we got today that look very different from the multiplayer. So I think this is going to be a Halo game where the multiplayer and single player mechanics look like they might be largely separate.
Which I'm
totally mean you can do that in a Bungie related product? What?
You already hit on the Destiny thing, so
let's just not even.
Let's just
not even use the B word here or the D word here today.
I'm excited to see how this comes out, and it's heading to us very soon. So
very soon.
They also showed a cool boss-like elite character, with a double energy sword type thing.
I immediately got what are they called?
Marauder. Doom Eternal.
From Doom Eternal. Yeah, that's
100%.
immediately what I thought of. I'm still going to say it. Grappling hook, a fusion core, and then throwing it to blow up stuff is still awesome.
It's cool. Yeah. And having done that a few times in the multiplayer, it does do a lot of damage. So it's actually worth doing and not just stupid and hard.
And it looks like they brought back friendly UNSC NPCs soldiers, which is always great to see. That's something I have so missed from.
Well, it's because they also then immediately showed them driving off a cliff. With these NPCs
there was there's going to be a cool platform down there, and they just kept going. No, there's.
And then they just cut away.
Right,
many people in the comments have pointed out, it's like, don't worry, you're safe now. Proceeds to drive off a cliff.
Yeah, it's a very funny 10-second sequence.
That's what I was going to point out next, is that they really seem to be picking up on something else that I thought was really missing from 4 and 5. More 5 than 4. Is that to every other human that is a normal person fighting in this conflict, Master Chief is he's a demigod pretty much. He's maybe not like the sole savior, but he's done a lot of things to help people not all be dead. And in Halo 1 you have the guys that'll sit in your turret on the Warthog and go woo when you're going over jumps and stuff, and just having banter between each other and stuff.
Adding a little Nathan Fillion in there.
Exactly, yeah. And then 3 they had even the elites are respecting you, and you have that's where it kind of came to the head. And then in 4 you'd have what if we had someone that hated you, and then they forgot to just leave it with one person, and then everyone except for one character disliked the Master Chief for no reason other than that they're stupid. And then in 5 they just removed it entirely because nobody has a character in that game.
I mean, there are NPCs in 5, just nameless, soldiers that run around.
But you don't get that feeling that you're the reason that these people are here, that they can get through this in the story. You're the reason that they can get through it in the game, because if you don't do anything, all of your AI companions will die and not revive each other.
I think I think a lot of that came from a desire to we want to change your perception of Master Chief and make him more of a character, which didn't work. At its heart is an admirable goal, and I actually approve of that. I just don't think they did a very good job.
No, and I'm gonna raise you one here. I think they're going to do a good job here from just like what they've shown on the trailer. He talks more, but that could easily just be like condensing of his lines, like like 17 lines of the whole game being in like a 6-minute trailer. But it seems like he almost has like a not necessarily like a father daughter, but like old man and like apprentice relationship with not Cortana. Because like she'll just say something and he'll like finish her sentence with just like, I'm gonna kill them instead, and it's just like, okay, that's, you know what? Not only is that what I would say too, but he said it cooler. So I'm still living vicariously through him, which is what they wanted by giving him like one line of dialogue in the whole game. But now he has a character behind it. So I think they're getting that meshing of both worlds there.
He's a quiet protagonist instead of a silent protagonist.
Yes, exactly.
I do kind of wish that the lines they did give him were like a bit more like clever.
Please don't start making Master Chief quip. Please don't.
He doesn't need.
I'm not saying
please
quips.
don't.
Listen. I'm not saying quips. What I'm saying is I want more. I'm giving the Covenant back their bomb type of lines.
That's a quip.
This was on the same level. You get like maybe 3 of those per Halo game, and that's why they stand out and they're good. Okay.
Yeah.
You get like the wake me
having...
when you need me. You get the sir finishing this fight. Like that's the he says like silly things like I thought I'd shoot our way out, mix things up a little, like those sort of things where it's not like quite quip level, but it's like right before where it's like, oh, that's awesome.
You don't want chocolate cake for every meal.
It's
yeah,
exactly. Subtle, but there's like trying to figure
Sometimes
out
you have to have
Master Chief doesn't need to be James
I'm not
Bond.
asking for like a quippy like Nathan Drake protagonist sort of. I'm not asking for that, just to be clear. But I felt like there was like a little.
Well, it's because games constantly fail to walk the line, right? Like there are tons of games that try to walk that line of having a protagonist that has character and isn't quippy, but also like talks a decent amount. It's super hard to do because you either fall on the side of they're just boring, and you get a boring character, or you fall on the side of now they're just a quip monster like you'd see in a Marvel movie and no one likes them. So
yeah,
right. And I'm not asking for that. Again, I just feel like the quips that he did have in like especially 2 or 3 or something had like a bit more of like a. I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. They had a bit more of like a punch to it, I guess. And maybe that's just like nostalgia and rose-tinted glasses talking. That's definitely part of it. But I want to say they were like slightly more clever. If that makes sense.
Maybe they didn't want to show their more clever ones off yet then, Wyatt. Because I thought
they
these were fine.
They get like 4 or 5 of those at the most before it gets bad. So
yeah.
They probably want to hide those lines, would be my bet. If
I would also argue that this is probably a significantly longer. It seems like it's going to be a longer game.
Yeah, they stated this is the biggest campaign Halo's ever had by like a significant
we're probably
margin.
going to get more of those in here just because of the size of the game. Which, yeah.
They just have to be spaced out because that's not Master Chief if he starts cracking jokes all the time. It's like
I'm not again.
I know. I'm saying to continue that.
Yeah.
I'm not always attacking you, Wyatt.
I think what we're saying is that I personally do not trust 343 to not have that be the result of them trying to write a better Master Chief. That's what I'm afraid of.
I hope that's not the case.
I'm gonna throw it out there. It's not that they've never written Master Chief well. 4 had a very well written Chief, so
it's just they keep writing everything else badly.
Do it,
yeah,
right?
For everything.
What I'm saying is they can do it. They just haven't done it in a while.
Yeah,
in a while means 5 because they haven't made anything else.
That's
the confusing part. It's been a very long break.
Feels forever ago, man.
Because it was.
Yeah,
it was 2015, wasn't it?
No, 2013.
Oh
what?
God! What?
Hold on, are you talking about 5 or 4?
5.
5 was 15.
Okay, good. I'm right.
Or 16. 15 or 16.
I was like, wait a minute. Excuse me.
I thought you were talking about 4. I thought you were talking about
I like 4.
4.
I think 4 is pretty fun.
4 is a fun game.
4 doesn't have my favorite aesthetic, but I think it's still a very enjoyable Halo game. Aside from that one bit where you have to like fly a ship and it's horrible. That one bit's awful, but the rest of it's great.
What was it called? Like the Excalibur or whatever, or
the short sword.
Yeah,
Short
it's the one at the
sword,
very. It's the one close to the end where you just gotta like do a trench run like Star Wars style, like some things keep spawning from off screen and
the
run into
Japanese
them and
sword.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a cool
I
idea.
don't remember being a fan.
See, my experience is I
liking it
played
when it opened up, but not in like.
I played that game
tight
for the
corridor.
first time with a friend in co-op on the hardest difficulty.
Oh,
and that
yeah,
specific
never mind.
segment was so much
That's-
harder than any other part of the game.
That can't be a co-op segment. It just shouldn't have been.
No, it's awful because if one
What is
person
it?
messed
Is it
it
where
up, you just
someone
both
flies
die.
and the other one shoots?
No, it's like I'm
There's
pretty sure
two
it's
of
split
them.
screen. You both do it, but if one person gets wrecked, you both immediately go back to the start.
Oh.
So
God.
it might be
They should have done a
different
thing
now.
With...
No waiting for the other guy to respond here. No.
No.
Yeah, it's real rough. It's a rough segment. I'm sure it's fine single player, but it was not great multiplayer. So yeah, is that our Halo discussion? Did we do it? Did we get through it without even comparing it to Far Cry?
Halo.
Don't start now.
Halo.
I just want to say again, the music is probably is another highlight for me because it's the most Halo-y music, and I've liked a lot of the music from 4 and 5, to be fair, but it was also very different. So it's nice that with this, because they're very
we've got
much,
the
like,
sweeping
going back to their
orchestral.
roots.
Does it make you want to sing it in a bathroom with your bros?
Yes.
That's the point.
Exactly.
It feels new, but also very nostalgic.
Yeah, it
struck a very
feels
good balance.
I like music from 4 a lot, but from 4 and 5 it felt like they were trying to like almost afraid to use the Halo theme like ever, and it's like Master Chief's still the main character. It's not like that was like connected to Cortana or something. Like you can still use that. That's the name of the game.
They definitely wanted Atonement, which was the main menu song from 4, I think, to be like the new theme, which I like a lot, but it's a very like
it's not
pretty
the same.
piece.
You can't take
the
take the Halo theme away, right?
No,
You can't do that because it's so synonymous with just games as a whole. I mean, no one's gonna respect it if you do. You Atonement is a very good theme. It's just not. It should not have been the like overarching theme of the game when you've got the Halo theme running in the background. So, all right.
It still gives me chills whenever I hear it because I'll listen to video game music while I'm working or something, and I put it on, I'm like, ooh. It's a very pretty piece.
Now, Alex, I think I can confidently say you are the least invested of us in the success of this Halo game. And so
actively rooting for it to fail.
Wow. that is not what I was going for, but okay.
You're taking a shotgun and firing all the shots tonight, my guy. Jeez.
What did I say? I said I was not actively.
We picked up it was. You were.
Okay.
On our end, it said you were.
I'm not that malicious of a person.
Do to your family. Jesus.
Hey, Halo Combat Evolved Rat killed my family.
Oh no.
All right.
I got a needle spike to the knee.
So in the spirit,
I'll be watching it from afar. I'll be cheering it on.
In the spirit of Halo and Halloween, it's time to play our game. And today we're gonna give a spooky makeover to a Nintendo franchise. All right. Now I want you to tell me what Nintendo franchise would best be envisioned as a Halo Infinite type horror game. Now it's up to you what you interpret that phrase to mean. Oh, I know they're not. It's up to you what you interpret that phrase to mean, but you need to describe to me what a Halo Infinite horror game is and how your
Ryan, you're taking
Nintendo character is going to fit.
And you're grabbing like 1,000
different I described peanut butter and like potato chips, all right? We're getting weird with this.
It actually doesn't sound terrible.
Ryan, I got you. I am good to go.
Metroid is banned. Metroid is banned from competition for this. All right, Alex, you are first.
Animal Crossing.
Oh, all right. I can see it. Paint me a picture, Alex.
All right.
What does this look like?
Especially with the newest game, the newest Animal Crossing game in the series. There's been some funny memes about thinking, this character kind of seems like a murderer. And those of you who played Animal Crossing know what I'm talking about.
No,
it's
of course.
That goat that is dressed as a clown.
Oh, yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
He's on
And-
my island and I can't get rid of him.
And you can't get rid of him. He does suspicious things on night. If you walk by his house at the night, there have been people, and I don't know if this is a joke. It seems realistic at this point because of how ridiculously creepy he is. You can hear things coming from the house that sound like screaming or the whacking of a weapon.
Well, so what it actually is him at the toolbox, because in Animal Crossing, they make noises when they're making DIY crafts. It does sound like someone hitting weapons on a wall. It's like sawing noises. So it's not...
Jeez.
It's a little creepy.
So it opens like a regular Animal Crossing game, and you do that. It's maybe it's a DLC or an update for the current Animal Crossing game. And you go visit him if he's on your island. If you've somehow not managed to get rid of him, may God have mercy on your soul. If you visit him, and then let's say you go to sleep, like you're about to go save your game, done for the night. It doesn't let you save.
Oh no.
You wake up in Pietro's basement.
Good
I think
old
that's the
Pietro.
goat's name. Pietro?
It is Pietro. Yes, it is. You're
I
you're
still
awakening
remember it.
memories of my
You
first
wake up
run
in
through New
Pietro's
Horizon.
basement, and you have to get out of there. But you're chained up to something. And it's at this point where, like, through the dream sequence of when you're being kidnapped but you don't know it and being put in his basement, the point of view is going to shift slightly. And it'll still be the Animal Crossing graphical style, but it'll be in first person.
Oh no.
So you yourself in first person will have your avatar chained to a mattress in Pietro's basement, and you're gonna have to get out. But he's left some of those tools that you can hear him using at night by the side. You're gonna have to get those, and you get out. But you've entered this weird sort of mirror dimension, and I think this is the why I thought of Animal Crossing first was because there have been so many of the Animal Crossing and Doom memes.
Yep.
Yes.
Is that I feel like combat could be a very fun part of an Animal Crossing game.
Especially if it's just like weirdly not brutal. It's just like you hit people with toys and they fall asleep or something. It's super.
Yeah.
It looks brutal on the outset, but then it's still E-rated game. You know, it just makes you think.
It makes like the squeaky hammer noise when you hit people or something.
Bam.
So you have to get out of his basement. There's not really a position of authority on the island besides yourself. There's no police office. So you're gonna have to, and you can't really kill him because you can't kill an Animal Crossing game unless you can. I don't. That did
not really. You gotta like make them pissed off enough that they leave your island.
So it's either in this now first person view, you could maybe run him through a gauntlet of bees.
You're just doing all the devious ways that people torture their villagers in Animal Crossing, except in first person.
Yeah.
You become the villain.
Wonderful. Now, I also have to imagine you leave on the plane at some point, because the plane in New Horizons can take you to different islands. I'm just imagining that you get to a new island where everyone is Pietro.
Oh my god.
It just gets steadily more nightmarish.
See, that's so much worse. What I was thinking was Pietro was going to be on the wing of the plane.
Oh yeah, and you look out the window and he's standing there.
It's like that episode of Twilight Zone.
Exactly.
That's
all right.
Great.
Moving on. Brett, you were ready.
Oh, okay.
I was ready first, Wayne.
Well,
so
shut up.
we got a fusion of Spooky and Halo Infinite somehow, I guess. We're gonna go Zelda with this one because I think if you kind of adapt the settings of Twilight Princess to like a spookier open world esque game, I'm putting quotes around it because I don't want to fully admit it. It would work because I mean
it's okay. It made you pee a little.
That game has a lot of just like you're riding Epona back and forth, and I like Twilight Princess a lot. There's really nothing in between the places, and it's not like Shadow of the Colossus where that's kind of the point. It's just like well, you got to ride from place to place. So
It's like we had a limited amount of development time, and we needed the horse to be there, so there's just some landscapes for you to scroll through.
We made it big, and we put a big orange bloom filter over it, and then we released it. But now it's gonna be spooky, and we're gonna really double down on because this like the Twilight Realm stuff is freaky. It's weird. There's like all the weird stuff with like the mask and just the aesthetic of it is all very like strangely like stone, but like tech-y at the same time, and just really like weird to look at.
It's also very
We're gonna
goopy.
double down.
There's a lot of like goop enemies.
There's a lot of goop. We're gonna have
there's a lot of Gwyneth Paltrow. Goop. There's a lot of goop.
So we're with all the theories coming out that had come out about Breath of the Wild 2 kind of becoming a little bit enveloped with Twilight Princess stuff, and that kind of not being true anymore because it doesn't look like that at all from the one trailer they showed. We're gonna take that and we're gonna run with it, and we're gonna kind of double down on the spookiness of having to save people from the Twilight Realm, and we're gonna have a world where you can actually see the progression of you saving people from the spookiness and getting people back to their towns and banishing Twilight Ganon and all that stuff. Twilight Princess, but again, please.
Twilight Princess, but again, and more Halo.
And more. Yeah, with Halo Infinite, I guess.
Hey, it's already got a grappling hook, so...
Yeah, you're right. There. 2 grappling hooks, even.
Yep. Ooh. Halo, gotta step up your game.
I know. Maybe that's an upgrade, who knows?
Not on the level of Twilight Princess.
Hook action.
Motion controls. That's the next step.
Oh, God.
Don't make me choke. God. The one thing I hate more than open world.
All right. Wyatt, what have you got for us?
All right. I'm gonna set a scene for you.
Okay, wonderful. I'm gonna close my eyes. Just paint a picture.
Great. Really try and immerse yourself. So, Halo Infinite really is inspired by Combat Evolved. We all know this. We've already talked about this. So, let's take 343 Guilty Spark, the mission where you first encounter the spooky enemies known as the Flood. We're gonna kind of recreate that in Halo Infinite. Okay. You know, you're walking around. You're seeing a lot of dead bodies. You're seeing a lot of recorded footage from Marines being attacked by some mysterious life form, whatever. And then you open the door, and the Flood have taken over the bodies of Nintendogs.
Oh my god!
This is the most brutal thing
game ever.
I've ever.
This is what you get when you talk with someone who enjoyed The Last of Us 2. Now he just wants to kill dogs all the time. My god, you monster.
Look at what Neil Druckmann has caused our youth to become.
You probably want a special melee weapon to be a golf club, don't you?
Oh, no.
All right, we're going to step away from
Joe's 9-iron.
Continue, Wyatt. What is is that it? Is that all you have?
Mostly.
Oh god, there's more.
I actually don't know that much about Nintendogs. I just thought it sounded funny.
It's actual. No, I want you to know why Nintendogs is a game where children can pet virtual pets because their parents probably don't want them to have a real pet.
And now they pet back a lot harder.
So I'm just imagining you're sitting with your 3DS or your Switch now, and you're using the HD Rumble to pet just like a zombified Flood dog, who, if you pet it wrong, bites you and kills you.
Yes. The Joy-Cons, the HD Rumble's gotten so advanced that the Joy-Cons lift themselves up from the console and makes like a snapping jaw that tries to eat you.
That's the Nintendo Labo controller.
I mean, Halo Infinite's very well known for its controller that tries to turn into a jaw and eat you. So
yes,
right,
absolutely.
Advanced controller jaw technology.
If you're not playing Halo Infinite with your feet currently in a bear trap, you're not playing the game correctly.
Well, I think we can state that Wyatt gets the peanut butter and potato chip award of the most.
This is
inane combination. The one I definitely most want to play is Twilight Princess again or Animal Crossing Pietro. I can't really separate them in my mind, so that's what I want to see. All right.
Oh my god!
You gotta get the actual horror aspect in there. There's nothing more horrific than zombified alien.
No, THO is more scary.
I mean, the last thing I remember from playing Warframe is my little fungus Kurbo.
Yeah, the fungus canine.
Kubro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a fungal
The biggest
Kubro.
low blow that you can do if you have dogs as an enemy is to have them do like the dog whimper when you kill them.
Especially if you don't have an option to not do it, right? That's when it gets me.
Or if you try to go and pet a dog.
Discussion, right?
You can't bring up the dog whimper without me getting mad.
Last of Us 2 game of the year.
If you try to go and interact/pet a dog, and instead you take out your weapon and...
No, don't pet him like that.
All right, moving on. We're going to talk about what we've been playing this week.
Nintendogs, not anymore.
Wyatt, I need you to go first to get whatever insanity is about to happen out of the way. So there is a strict time limit for this.
Okay.
So you got like 10 minutes at the most. In fact, less than that. You have like 7 minutes to give your
in heaven.
Your weekly.
Well, I've been playing a lot of zombie stuff recently. Actually.
Just don't talk about any game you want to talk about next week, because next week is our official Halloween episode.
These aren't really horror games, so it's fine. I've been playing more Back 4 Blood because that game has its fangs just right into my hands, and there's nothing I can do. I have to play it more. I have officially finished the story mode, or all of the story missions, so that's kind of fun.
Nice.
Still loving it. Still think it's a great game that will only get better with time and updates. The other thing I've been playing, because Ryan was talking about it as we were playing Back 4 Blood, and then I was like, oh yeah, I probably should go back and play that. Been playing Dying Light again. I think I'm enjoying it more the second time around, because it took me a really long time the first time to like get the parkour down and like get a good flow going, whereas this time it was a lot quicker because I called upon some old muscle memory. Story still sucks. It sucks. It's sucky, suckage, sucks. But the melee combat's really fun. Some of the wacky weapons they have is really fun. The parkour is just like the game came out in 2015, and
it feels better than games that come out today.
Yeah,
by like a significant degree.
The parkour is so well done. Like it hasn't aged a day outside of if you kind of get your aim off, it'll like teleport you to a ledge, but that's more of just like a safety precaution than it is like a bug or anything. I'm not really upset about it at all. That was like the most shocking thing was just how well that parkour system holds up. I do hope they add some more things in the second one. Some things from Mirror's Edge, like one thing I liked in Mirror's Edge, where if you're jumping over something, but realistically your legs would hit the ledge, you have to hit C, and you kind of like crouch while you're in midair to like squeeze through a tight jump or something, which was always really satisfying. I hope they add something like wall running, which I think would really kind of round out the parkour kit quite a bit. And hope God a better story, but no, it's been very zombie themed for me, which Brett's very jealous of course.
I ain't gonna say anything.
Yep.
I'm not gonna feed the fire.
No, I gotta add on because I've been playing a lot of Dying Light as well. It's kind of my yearly Halloween game. I inevitably end up playing through at least half of it again. Holds up very well, and if the story doesn't bother you, if the gameplay is very good, it's definitely worth playing. Especially because the melee combat is just like first-person melee combat has not been this good in like any other game. Basically, maybe the chivalry games can kind of fit with it, but like melee combat is just so hard to get right, especially with first person. So
yeah,
a lot of fun, a lot of weight to it. Anything else, Wyatt?
I don't think so. It's mostly just been playing that stuff until Guardians comes out, and then I'm probably going to play literally nothing else until I finish Guardians. But no, yeah, I think that's about it. Some Battlefield here and there. To kind of wash the bad taste of 2042 out of my mouth. I'm playing Battlefield 5.
It's coming back, Wyatt.
Wash my mouth out. I'm playing Battlefield 5.
2042's coming.
It's like
even Brett prefers 5 over
That's the thing.
2042.
That's like
The worst
using
part is that I
something.
agree with you.
it's like using apple cider vinegar to wash the taste of throw up out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, other than that, that's been about it.
All right, who wants to go next?
Me go. So I have not been playing the Blue Point remake. I have not been playing the PS3 re-release. I have been playing OG Shadow of the Colossus on the PS2. The tagline of which is you are a little boy who just wants to save his girlfriend by defeating giant rock monsters at 10 FPS.
Oh,
And it couldn't be more accurate than that.
oh.
And I think and this is something that who a couple of people who've been watching me play kind of pointed out is that like you open the map up or you like get on a rock and you look out into the distance and just the way that they made it so that there is no distance fog, it's just you can see everything in front of you. This is a PS2 game, people. Like holy crap. I'm fine with having just like the innate jank of we still somehow have not gotten comfortable with 3D after like 10ish years or something at this point, and like the kind of garbage run speed, but like I don't really care too much about that stuff because it holds up really well. And the only reason I'm playing it is because I just don't feel like plugging my PS4 in and re-signing up for PS Plus to get the remake
Colossus.
for free. But yeah, it still holds up super well, and it's totally done the thing that it's done to like everyone else that I've watched and heard talk about it, where it's just like the world is just so well made, and it just totally sucks you in, and it's kind of incredible because and I mentioned this in the Discord for the chat here, for the podcast rather, that it does like multiple things like wrong. Like if another studio today tried to do the same thing and had the same constraints to where they just like either did not want to or could not put anything in the world other than lizards and fruit, it would probably be garbage. But something about just the complete emptiness of the entire Forbidden Lands, except for you and your horse and your still dead girlfriend and the lizards and fruit, it's just so enchanting, and just the style of the game and how and this is something that I do prefer with the original over what Bluepoint did with it, just the way that like things look and how everything's just so washed out and abandoned looking, it fits so well, and that kind of makes it the reason that you explore and keep going, like not only to get through like the boss rush of the 16 colossi, but just to get to the next like super unique looking really pretty area. Like you're going through dark forests with a ton of trees and there are god rays, and this is a PS2
Excuse me,
game.
they're called Todd Rays.
No. I refuse. I refuse.
16 times the Todd Rays, Brett.
4 times the size of Halo Infinite. But yeah, basically the thing that brought me through is basically just it being so impressive for the time that it came out, and so much so that I think there are a few games, because I mean for me, like again, like Ryan said, it was my gimmick. I don't like the open world games very much, kind of because of what they've become, with like they just have to be so full of like optional garbage basically, where sometimes they're fun things to do, but a lot of the time it just feels like padding or stuff that I don't care about, and like I want to do it if I want to do it. I don't want to have 90 million waypoints on a compass pointing me in that direction. I like opening up my map like, oh, am I going the right way? And then no, I took a wrong turn here. Now I have to figure out where to go next because there's no icons. It's part of the gameplay, is the exploration, and it feels very classic in that regard. Um, and it's something that probably people would call bad game design nowadays, because you have people saying that invisible walls in Metroid is bad game design, and that's 2021, people. But yeah, it holds up super well. The soundtrack is like after listening to the full thing now, it's up there with Nier for me, and just being complete knock it out of the park gold. And yeah, it's just amazing. It's more available now, so if any of you guys haven't played it, or if anyone else who's listening hasn't played it, definitely give it a shot, because it's not even that hard.
Yeah, I've played the original.
Easy,
I haven't
not gonna lie.
played the remake, but I want.
I've
to,
been
definitely.
planning on picking up the remake because it's definitely I mean the only Team Eco game I've ever played, unfortunately, was Last Guardian.
Last Guardian's fine.
Yeah, that's it's
Oh,
it's a
I
very
hated
if you don't like it, you will not like it at all. That's the kind of thing with
Yeah.
that game.
Last Guardian. I so wanted to love it because I loved the concept so much, and when it worked, I was like, "This is awesome." But getting that stupid dog to do anything was so frustrating that I just noped out. I couldn't do it.
Stupid dog, you made me look bad.
But no, it's something I've been meaning to play for a long time, actually. So you've motivated me more to,
You
to
should.
pick it up. Yeah.
And from what you say about the dog, you're gonna hate the horse because my god, they specifically programmed in just random chance for him to not listen to you or her. I don't know if Aggro was a boy or a girl. And I mean, this game came out in like what 2006, but I'm not gonna spoil it anyway. But like things happen later, and before I thought it was sad, but when I played it now, I was just like, I don't care.
Mm.
I'm
Wow.
gonna be honest with you. Which is sacrilege to some people, I guess. But
Now I think you didn't get the point of the game, Brett. I don't remember what
I just
happened
not
because it's
smart
been
enough.
like 10 years, but you didn't get the point, so you go play it again.
I'm going to. I've already done all the time attacks on normal. Now I have to replay the entire story again on hard,
Yep.
and then do all the time attacks on hard, so I
Why?
can get the lightsaber at the end. Because I wanted to get the
Lightsaber?
brown horse, Wyatt. All right, and guess what? I got the brown horse, and now the horse is brown, and the same thing is going to happen to it that it did last time, and I'm going to
What
go.
color was the horse before?
It was black before. Aggro was black
Oh.
normally, and now he's brown.
Oh.
And then I think if I do all the things on hard mode, you get a nice shiny white.
Oh.
Wait, you get a lightsaber?
Yes, because that's it's the eco sword. People just
Yeah,
call it a lightsaber.
lightsaber, whatever. Brown horse.
All right.
Holy crap!
Before this devolves further, anything else you want to talk about, Brett?
No, it's very good. If you're not going to play the game, at least listen to the soundtrack because it's incredible. It's
Or
so
just
good.
play the game. It's very easy to access, right?
Yeah, you have no excuse.
There's like 4 different versions of it you can get
Reaching over
on
to my
most platforms.
PS5 as we speak.
PS related.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, you been having a good time with some games?
I had. Oh, what I've been playing, not necessarily in the Halloween theme.
No. This is
not
our
Halloween.
No.
this is our lightening up Halloween theme is next week.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. 'Cause
Where things get real spooky.
I had a game, and I was getting so interested in what Brett was saying, I completely forgot what I wanted to remind myself to play, and I didn't write it down. What I've been playing has been I've gone back to Uncharted 4 because I got bored with Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
What was the?
That sounds
I
about
am
right.
curious. What was the breaking point for you with Odyssey?
The after story quests were just going on too long. I don't
You
care
just
anymore.
didn't. There wasn't enough to carry you through it.
There's been more endings in it than there has been in Lord of the Rings.
Wonderful.
Anything after like whatever happens with your family, I
did the
did not
family.
care.
I did the cult.
Wow. Okay.
was-
You got farther than I did.
The final Ghost of Cosmos. It was an interesting surprise.
Just remember, no spoilers in
didn't-
case anyone does want to finish it. But
It didn't hit me as hard as I
True.
thought it would. There could have been more interesting people, but it was good to okay.
it was fine. But
God, I did the family. I did the cult. Oh, I did the like closing off a I did the thing where you have to gather orbs to do something with a door. I was saying in as little spoilery sense as possible.
Oh, didn't even bother.
The door
your
orbs.
MacGuffin quest.
The door orbs.
The Dorbs, if you
Yeah,
will.
The dorbs.
Magic Orbeez. Continue.
Dorbies.
So I did that. I was trying, and because I thought I was good at games, which is a horrible fallacy that I keep telling myself. I am
Nobody's good at video
no-
games.
I am not good at games, and it's not going to get better with age because my reaction time is crap already. I tried to do the Uncharted 4 speedrun.
Oh.
Which you have to complete the game in 6 hours. I
Oh my god.
was yeah,
Because Uncharted 4 is pretty big, isn't it?
it's
It's a
intense.
long. It's probably the longest Uncharted game. Like,
It's intense.
significantly.
I don't remember where I screwed up, but there was a point to which I had like only 10 minutes of leeway, and I was like 3.5 hours through the game.
And you're not using any of the modifiers. It's just like straight up just.
I am on. Sorry, there was a bug on the screen. I played on Explorer difficulty, which gives you aim assist.
Okay, but you're not doing any of like the bottomless clip, like infinite
No.
ammo type of stuff. Okay.
No. But I essentially had 600 seconds in which I had to use optimally. If I screwed around for more than 600 seconds, I was done.
And you had a lot of time left on that run.
And it's like it still counts towards death. Like the entire death animations counts the timer. Cutscenes count. You can skip through some of them, but not all of them. It doesn't count when you pause it, thank God. But it, for the death, it doesn't set back the timer for when it continues the timer going. And it can, especially in the driving section, which is my favorite part of the game, it was horrible on the speedrun thing. It made me so anxious because at some points you have to go far back so far in the just amazing chase sequence. But I ended up being I think like 28 minutes off.
Oh.
I don't think I'm gonna try it again. And I also trying for like other achievements. I don't know. If I was to platinum a game, I would want it to be Uncharted 4 just because I've said it's my favorite for so long. And
maybe save it for a rainy day. Go back to it at some point when there's a drought of games.
We're
in October, so it's not that right now.
Yeah.
There's a fun achievement that I tried to do where it's like after you reunite with Elena and you're trying to steal a Jeep back. There's a thing where you cannot kill or hurt anyone in this like span of time. Just run through the level.
What?
And steal the Jeep back and drive out of there. The achievement's called Just Floor It.
Because I know exactly what level you're talking about. So like, what?
Yeah.
Seriously?
And just drive out. Yeah. The problem is, I did fine. I did not hurt anyone. I was still, like booking it speed style, jumping instead of climbing. And right before I get out of the gate, that's going to put me into the next area and give me the achievement, some asshole NPC jumps in front of the van and I run him over.
You got Russian dash cam, dude. Oh my god.
That's awful.
Terrible.
That's tragic. That's awful.
Naughty Dog did you dirty.
Did you not even?
Oof. All right. Anything else, Alex?
Brett, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You're learning.
I might be revisiting Fallout 4 for the Halloween thingy.
Yeah, that is a nice
creepy.
Spooky Boston game. Very fun. All right.
Boston's just spooky in general, so.
Hey, I mean, I live here and it's pretty.
I actually like Boston.
Spooky village. All right. So I've had a couple of things on my list. Most of them the same thing as Wyatt. So we played some Back 4 Blood. We played a lot of Dying Light, and both those games very fun. I'll probably talk a little bit more about Dying Light next week, but I have been doing. So you all know there's a game I like to play called Final Fantasy XIV Online. Shadowbringers.
I don't think you've ever talked about this. Please tell us more.
So I can now officially talk. I have like authority, a general small level of authority now because I've done the hardest like in-game content that is not the thing you have to play for like 60 hours to beat it.
The Nier Automata raid?
No, I've done the Nier Automata raid is like barely hard. It's hard, but it's the kind of thing where like it's a 24-man, you can mess up a lot. So I've been doing 8-man Savage raiding with my free company guild. And what Savage Raiding is a very, very difficult, like, timed thing where you're fighting a single boss and you have a ton of stuff you're dealing with depending on your role. So I play healer, which means I basically have to just minimize the amount of mistakes that happen from everyone else, but of course I'm also trying to not make the mistakes myself, which usually doesn't work great. Not that amazing. We've been doing fine, but it is like a very crazy experience doing that level of like coordinated thing where you need 8 people in a Discord call, like keeping track of what's going on. It's a very different game experience than what I've done before. Even playing like competitive League is not similar in any way of like, because it's less stressful because there aren't that many stakes for losing. You maybe lose like 5 minutes of something. Yeah, you got to give it another run through because the most these fights are 10 minutes long. They don't really ever go past that unless they're the crazy, like in-game things that are called ultimates, which are much longer and far more precise. You need like a very coordinated group of people to do that. But the Savage ones are really, really fun. They give rewards that are basically just like your gear. That's very nice. But the great thing is it's just like the fights at their maximum potential. And because the game's story is so good, you go through these fights and you just remember the story beats that happened while you were playing through the normal versions of these fights. Because like it's the same fight, but as a crazy super boss, which is very cool. You get to do some fun stuff with those. Kefka's in it too, if you like Final Fantasy VI. So you can go do Kefka. It's a very, very fun
Mithril Mike
set of raids. Yeah, Mithril Mike definitely in it.
My guy.
Yep.
What a callback.
My guy with his giant metal face diaper. My guy.
But no, it's a really crazy, unique experience, which is why I want to mention it here. There's not really anything akin to it. Even, it's like other MMOs tend to have the street fight style of fighting where you really need to, you're kind of more reactionary in what you're doing, whereas 14 is a lot more planned out. It's more of like the dance type analogy. If you're gonna be doing the same thing every fight, you just need to get the execution right to not mess it up. And it's more about like, it's more that Dark Souls type of methodology where you really need to just learn the fight and actually do things in the correct order, and then you're good. Because once you beat them and once you get them down to a T, they're not that difficult until you have to like relearn it on a different class or whatever. But at the base level, you just kind of got to get through it with your whatever gear you have. And it's a very fun thing to do in the lead up to the expansion. Been crazy unique. Then there's another little game that I've been playing. So we talked about Dying Light. You know, there's another MMO I don't think I've actually talked about. It's not even really an MMO, but I don't think I've talked about this on the podcast. Path of Exile. I think it's been mentioned. It's been mentioned once or twice, but I don't think I've actively been playing it since we started the podcast. New League.
I know you mention it all the time outside of the podcast. But.
Well, yeah, because I love ARPGs. ARPGs are one of my favorite genres, but they're right up next to JRPGs for me. I haven't played Path of Exile in a while and went back to it this league to get the new kind of experience. Very, very fun game still, but man, this dev team has problems.
Oh no.
It has. So their dev team is great. I think they're a very talented team that does a good job generally, but there seems to be this attitude on the team of we're right, the players are wrong. And this is a thing that's kind of happened for a very long time. It's almost very akin to the Destiny Bungie comments that have happened, especially in the lead up to the content vaulting and summersetting. Or sunsetting. You have the issue where... Yeah, summersetting. We're going to go to the beach party. It has this issue where the game is now designed around people that can like spend 5,000 hours playing it every couple of months, because
that sucks.
It's hit the point where there are so many different modifiers in the game. It's so difficult to ever play the game and just make a build without needing a spreadsheet and without needing to go through and do this math and everything, which can be fun. Like, I'm not saying that's necessarily a huge issue, but it becomes a problem when you play with one of the alternate modes. So this league, I tried for the first time to do solo self-found, which means I can't trade with other players for items. I have to make my build based on whatever I get that drops in the game. And I have not found a single good item. And I've been playing for like 15 hours at this point, about, and it's the issue where like I need such specific things to do a basic build. So my build I'm going for is I'm a character with a two-handed axe that runs around and spins, and I'm just trying to like leech life from enemies to not die. Right?
Spin to win, yes.
Yeah, spin to win. It's a life leech build, so it's relatively defensive, and they're usually pretty easy to do. But because gear is now so hard and enemies are so overtuned in certain parts of the game, to where like I'll be strolling through the game fine during the story mode, and then I'll do the optional mechanic in that area and get one shot, and I'll just be like, "What? Excuse me?
God.
What has happened?" And it's just the kind of thing where this game needs like something to tell you what killed you. And it's infuriating because there's no like death recap or anything like that, and it can be so infuriating when I suddenly like hit just one enemy that just one-shots me and I have no indication of what happened, especially when I'm playing like a build that doesn't do a ton of damage but is very safe. And it just kind of seems like the issue where they've built this system around the players that spend the amount of time they need to get that like 1% build, where they have all the gear they need, the stats they need to like basically just never die. And they've geared around being able to kill those players, which means anyone who is not playing with like that written out build guide, that crazy spreadsheet, is now at a superior, like a completely insane disadvantage of being able to play the game on certain areas. And the nice thing is most of the stuff that is like that is optional. It's not generally in the main content, but once you hit the end game, it just kind of skyrockets the difficulty of you have to be in this position of like playing optimally. And normally they address this as a problem, but there was an interview they did in the lead up to this Scourge League, which is the new league, where the lead developer, Chris Wilson, was like, we don't really see people building for these speed builds as a problem because that's kind of the point of the game, right? You're meant to make this crazy fast build. The issue is that people figure it out. There's always like a correct answer to what this build is. So it means you can't experiment with like 90% of the skills in the game because they're useless. Which is kind of just like this weird stance to take of you're kind of missing the point of a game like Diablo where you have that ability to kind of go crazy and try to make a build for a weird skill or something. And that's kind of missing in Path of Exile right now because the content is just so difficult for any character that is not 100% optimized to do.
People are only using the last wish. That's fine.
Yeah, it's like the thing where like in Destiny,
to play the game.
Everyone needed to use like Gjallarhorn or something for a little while. It's just that kind of issue, but it's every time and in a different way, right? They're making the same mistake in different ways every league, which is horrifying to watch.
It's okay. Don't like it. Don't buy it.
In and of itself.
Oh, Wyatt. You see, it's not like that anymore. It's like that every season. This season just happens to I forgot the word. Last. The amount of time that this season is going on for is 6 months. It's 6 months, Wyatt.
I think Alex is finally cracked.
See, I think the issue with games,
and I can't stop playing,
like Path of Exile and Destiny right now, is the core gameplay is so good that you want to love the game really badly, and then they just continually keep making the same mistakes, and it becomes harder and harder. Until I'm like, I'm going to just go play some other game.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because I do love Path of Exile, but I think they have, this, especially this league, this major issue of overtuning everything. And part of that is that like this game releases new content every couple of months. So it's releasing a completely new set of mechanics and whatnot. They obviously don't have a lot of time to test everything. And that means things tend to be overtuned at launch. That's a problem, because launch is your first impression for your new players and people that are returning, and if they play for the first week and suddenly everything like kills you all the time, they're not going to want to keep playing, and then you've lost your player base. So yeah, it's an issue I think they really need to sort out. It to me just seems like they maybe need an extra month of development for these leagues instead of doing the 3-month cycle, do a 4-month cycle. But yeah, it's the kind of thing that is hard to give a good answer for. It's just a very difficult situation. All right. Now, on that happy note, we go to shoutouts.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
We did it. We've hit the end.
I'm so thrown off because we didn't start at our usual time.
Yeah,
we're recording on a different day at a different time, so it's slightly different, or earlier in the night. All right. Who wants to go first? Who's burning to give a shout out? What excitement! I'll go first.
I can't think of anything. God.
Look, all right, I got to give a shout out. Everyone here at this point knows that Brett and I watch wrestling, and he dragged me into the hellhole that is AEW, and I say that very lovingly. I get to see my first live show this week, which is going to be crazy. The Boston show is going to be very fun. But I got to give a shout out to Lance Archer, because man took a crazy looking bump the other night where he like did a moonsault and didn't rotate quite far enough to land safely, and he
almost landed directly on his head.
He did land on his head. He just happened to land at an angle on his head where he was mostly okay, but like
it was just barely. His elbows took some of it, but his head definitely took.
It looked very scary.
I hope you realize you're going to have to show me this after this.
Yeah, I'll show you the clip afterwards. But it was a very scary bump, and everyone on the show did a really good job of like covering for it and ending the match in a way that was definitely probably not the plan, but looked like it could have been the plan.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way I put it. And yeah, he's mostly fine now. I don't know if we're going to see him soon because he might have a concussion or something from that kind of fall. But that is like a fall that could have broken his neck if it was any worse. Yeah, the crazy worker that did a great job recovering from that. So, all right, who wants to go next?
I'll go next. Shout out to D-Brand because they've been pulling some goofy stuff recently. If you remember, some wacky stuff. So if you remember, a bit of a history lesson. If you remember, around the time the PS5 came out, there were several websites, several companies that were trying to make like side plates, like black side plates or different colored side plates, and Sony kept just saying like, "Nah, you can't make that. Get that off of the internet. You can't sell that anymore." And then D-Brand came along and was like, "Hey, what's up? We're D-Brand. We're kind of like D-bags on social media. We're going to be like, come on, we're going to make our own unique. We're going to have the exact same shell, but we're going to have very almost PlayStation-looking symbols, but not PlayStation-looking symbols. Come on, sue us, Sony. What are you going to do?" And then they sued them.
So sad. So sad.
So they weren't allowed to sell those anymore. But now, what they've done in response is they're selling Dark Plates 2.0 or whatever it's called, where it's a new design, like entirely new.
To be honest, they look better.
They look better. The like mafia V-neck sort of thing is gone. It's toned way down. They have like fan ports and stuff, so the airflow's a little bit better. They have optional like different multicolored LEDs and stuff like that. It looks really cool. And so they came out with this so quickly after the lawsuit that they had this all planned and ready to go ahead of time, and I love that. I love that so much, and it was really cool to see. And I will probably be picking up my own pair very soon.
All right, who's next?
I guess I am.
What confidence?
Actually, kind of not in the same vein as Wyatt, but it's I guess it's somewhat similar because this was something that just came back to me in a flash of I can't call it nostalgia. You guys remember in like middle school and high school when you had those textbooks, were you guys required to cover them up with
with book
socks?
Yes.
Oh man.
Socks.
Well, I did mine with a paper with like a shopping bag, like brown paper.
Trader Joe's bag.
Yeah.
Book socks.
So you could draw.
That is a blast from the past. I haven't seen those in a long time.
Dude. What even?
Wild.
Wow.
Brett, I hope you have a follow-up to book socks.
I have an anti shout out.
Oh god.
It's an anti shout out inspired by your shout out.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I loved the man, but I have an anti shout out to Cody Rhodes because he's like the least interesting person in AEW right now, and it's hurting him because he's the guy who started the company. And he thinks he's very interesting, but it's like you watch things from Rhodes to the Top, which is the little like semi behind the scenes, semi reality show, half real, half kayfabe, but somewhere in limbo of all these things. And he's like, "Oh man, this promo went over really bad," or like this bit like I think I'm just gonna like take a break for a while. And so clearly he knows that he shouldn't be booed out of the stadium, but he keeps doing things that get him booed out of the stadium. And then like it's come to the point where like I don't know if when he's looking around and acting confused, if he's just acting confused or actually confused that people do not like watching him anymore. And it sucks because he used to be my favorite. He used to be awesome. And now like he's been given every chance to be like, you can be a bad owner of company, man. You can be a dark guy that has to reclaim all the things that were his or whatever. With a dark anime past, you could be a zombie of corruption and infected by the goop of Malachi Black, and he chose none.
Did you just say the word zombie?
Yes. He chose none. Why? He didn't even choose zombie. This man chose nothing. He chose no options.
That's my second shout out. Brett
He's
just
saying the word zombie
for a second. He was just pro zombies for a second.
And hey, Brett, my chief hope with that shout out or that anti shout out is in like 3 months we'll come back and shout out Cody Rhodes for making something excellent out of it.
So.
But as of right now,
again,
it's taking so long.
It's not like, oh my god, this story's taken so long. It's been like a couple months. It's been years, and his character has not changed. And all of the people that he's been infused with have done like really cool or really different things, or at least keep trying to keep turning the wheel of like their characters so that they don't get boring. And he's just dropped the ball completely, and I don't know what he's doing. And I hope he gets back to being cool again, but I don't know. He got really sad when he came out and everyone made fun of him for looking like Robbie Rotten, and I guess he just doesn't want to do anything with his life anymore.
Is it like literally nothing to his character, or is it just like bad acting as a heel?
It's nothing.
It's
He's not
like
a heel.
Nothing is happening.
It's anytime you think like it's like, oh, like this man, his coach, armed Arn Anderson is telling him that, Cody, if I was in your situation, I would shoot and kill this man with my theoretical Glock. And nothing comes of it. He makes up with him in a week. And he goes, you trained for 15 minutes and I get to show you on camera being knocked out by one of the nameless trainees of our coaching school. And then we make up after that, and then nothing happens.
But like all that was really cool, and then just ends. It just stops.
Exactly. If something happened, then it would have been worth it. But nothing happened, so I slam my head against the wall, and I just get so confused. I don't know.
Look, we'll see. All right. With that, it's the end of the show on that happy note. As always, you can catch us Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern, on the podcast platform of your choice, or usually Sunday nights live here. It won't be next week because it's Halloween. We'll probably be recording the day before or 2 days before or whatever. Scheduling needs to happen for that. But that episode, assuming we can get it recorded early, will be coming out on Halloween, not on the Tuesday. So it'll be a Halloween episode on Halloween. So yeah, expect that next week, and we will see you then. The outro is playing.
Not sorry.
Now we get to jam. Not sorry.
To music that we can't hear.
I can hear it. You guys are just schmucks.
I don't know, but I have the Goosebumps theme going on in my head right now.
Oh yeah.
Bum 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 bum.
You guys ever think about the Goosebumps dog? The Goosebumps golden retriever?